Just to give you a bit of introduction, I'm Amy on the right there, if you're looking at the computer, and that's Debbie on the left. And we love to share and help and train others with publishing, writing, content creation. And if you haven't checked out our blogs yet, you're certainly welcome to do so. amyharrop.com, bookpublishingriches.com, and amydebcreations.com. So that's us. And here are some of the books we've published. We actually have a new book coming out very soon as part of a new series. So we'll just leave you with that cliffhanger. And once we have it available, we'll certainly let everybody know so you can check it out.
Yeah, it seems like this list keeps growing and growing, right, Amy? When I was putting this slide together, it made us just realize how much work we've gotten done over the course of about 7 or 8 months. I believe like about 4 or 5 months ago, we started our energy series, or energy series, right? Energy boosters. And Fight Fatigue were 2 of our first books in the series. Then we continue to create more and more with Herbs for Energy and Raw Foods Nutrition Facts. So it's just been a journey. And, this just goes to show you that we definitely practice what we preach. So we're not only teaching people how to create great and amazing content, but we're also creating it ourselves. So, and it's an ongoing process. Every single month we're putting out books, just like we're teaching. So.
Right, and just like a lot of you are as well. So it's really exciting. As Brenda is saying there, it's addictive, and I think that's true. Once you get one book published, you want to do more.
And then you just keep on thinking of more and more ideas. It's never ending.
So tonight here we're going to be talking about powerful content. And one of the things I want to mention about some of the content we're going to go over tonight is I'll be sharing some websites and resources. And we'll be putting some of those in the chat box. But if you want a full list of them, they're going to be available with the replay as a separate downloadable PDF. So you can take notes as we're going along if you want to get the name. We'll put some in the chat box, and then the full list of them will be available on the replay page. So just keep in mind, because I know sometimes when you're getting information, you can be difficult if you're not sure how you're going to be able to access it later. So I just want to put you at ease there with that. And what we're going to be sharing tonight are just some ways that you can make your content more specific, more memorable, and generally overall better. And just to get a quick shout out here, how many of you, you can just type yes in the box, have actually already published a book, an ebook or a physical book?
We're getting tons of yeses. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Lots of yeses.
And what about a blog? Do any of you publish on your blog regularly, have a blog? Yes, lots of yeses there too.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, as we were just talking about, is feeding the beast. We need content. We need to have regular content, whether we're actually putting it together on a book to be published on Kindle, the iBooks, CreateSpace, any of those publishing platforms, or we're creating content to share with others, or we're putting content on our blog. And one of the things that I've sort of, I guess, realized even more over the last year or so is that, you can have 2 people writing about the same topic, and one book or blog post or one piece of content can be good quality and another one can be poor quality. Now, sometimes obviously that can be up with the writing skills, but another aspect of that, I think, has to do with incorporating research into the content and making the content specific and relatable. And when I was an English teacher, I taught senior English, I taught college level English, and I used to teach research and writing. All the students had to do a paper. And that was interesting because a lot of times, the students would not be that familiar with actually how to dig a little bit deeper. And I think that's kind of what ends up happening too when we have the internet search engines and everything. You know, everybody just goes to Google, types in a keyword, and there's their research. And unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of other great content out there. I mean, we're not even going to be scratching the surface tonight, but we'll certainly give you some great ideas. And, you know, once we start digging below the surface a little bit more, we're going to be able to find research that's going to make our content more unique and more specific. And I also think, very importantly, you know, if you're using an outsourcer to actually write your books, one of the things I think that can make your book stand above other people's is doing more of the research yourself and doing better research. And that can make your book stand out from the crowd, so your book is more memorable and it's less bland and less generic. Because, you know, you go on to Amazon and there's a lot of books there about losing weight. There's a lot of books there about getting fit. There's a lot of books there about, you know, finding the one and keeping the one. So if you're going to be writing, particularly in publishing, particularly in crowded niches, you're going to have some tools that are going to make you rise above the crowd. And one of those tools, whether you're writing yourself or whether you're giving the research to somebody else, is going to be making sure that the starting point is actual, real content that then can be taken and, you know, written even further in terms of injecting your point of view in it, taking it to the next level, etc. It's a whole, you know, garbage in, garbage out thing, you know. If you just have some vague research that you've done off putting a keyword into Google and expect to get, you know, a high quality ebook out of it, or, you know, have an engaging blog post, in many cases that's not what's going to happen. So when we're talking about the idea of getting content, you know, it's a big topic. One of the things I wanted to start with a little bit here is just thinking a little bit about what you're looking for before you actually gather your research. And a lot of times that starts with niche research and niche ideas and niche selections, you know. And this is one of those things where if you don't start with what's actually happening in your niche and what people care about and what people are talking about, you can end up just getting spun around in circles. So when we're looking at niches that we want to focus in a little bit further, what we're often looking at is we want to be looking at the demands that people have in that niche, the problems that people are experiencing. And, you know, you can do basically like a whole course. There's tons of different places you can get niche research and ideas. But one of the tried and true methods is to use keyword research. Not necessarily so much just because you're looking to find low competition keywords on Google, but because looking at volume of keyword research and then, you know, taking that research that you've done across different marketplaces like Amazon can give you an idea of what people are talking about, you know. I was doing some keyword research recently, and, you know, gluten-free diet was a popular term. But as I was digging down a little bit more, what I found was that a lot of people were interested in gluten-free vegan diets. And, you know, that's a completely, it's related obviously, but it's a different angle. And, you know, by finding those areas that are underneath the broader keywords that people are looking for can really help you make the scope of your content a lot better to start with, so you're not floundering around and hoping, you know, that what you're writing about or what you're going to be publishing is too broad. And one of the tools I have here, one of the resources I want to share with you, is just this site that I came across where it talks about some free keyword research tools. And this is one of the things, especially I think now with increasing competition on Amazon Kindle, you know, is a good idea to actually start either before you've gathered your content and written your book, or certainly before you've published it, because you really want to know volumes of how many people are looking at, you know, particular subjects, problems, and interests, and what their actual slant is. And moving away a little bit from niche research, one of the things that can really make your content stand out is using references, quotes, and statistics. And this is oftentimes where if you include a relevant quote, if you include a relevant research study, if you include something that is statistically based, what that's going to do, it's actually going to go ahead and make it stick more in the mind of your reader. And it's going to give a real view to whatever it is you're actually talking about. And a lot of times this stuff is really fun too, especially even if you're a fiction writer. We didn't talk too much about fiction writers, but you go and start looking at some of the scientific research and scientific studies, and that's huge fodder for coming up with great ideas in terms of fiction or what could be fiction. And what I want to show you a little bit here is, here's three main areas that you can go to for getting tons and tons of content. You got government sites, USA.gov has huge database, academic research, and scientific research. And what I want to show you here, and I'm going to be going back and forth here a bit between the presentation and some examples, is this is the academic research database here. And what's really cool about this is basically you have all of these search engines and databases where you can access journals, abstracts, and abstracts are basically like a summary or an overview of an article. And when you look at this database, you can see like, okay, well, there's the access cost is free or there's a subscription. But this is a really great place to get some content. We got military science, biology, medicine, computer science, engineering, education. Look at this, providing access to over 1.3 million records. And one of the things, kind of I want to mention as well before we actually, you start talking about numbers and statistics, is a lot of times this stuff is very easily outsourceable, but what you need to do is if you're going to have somebody help you gather relevant facts and figures, you really need to point them into the right direction, or, they're going to be relying on the good old Google search. So, by giving your outsourcer, the people that are helping you, or if you want to do it, just breaking it down into different tasks, you can say, okay, go over to ERIC, the Educational Research Information Center, and pull statistics about how many kids are homeschooled. Homeschooling is a hot topic. That actually, you get the relevant research, and that can actually help you put together your content for your book. So, you're giving all my resources, Tom says. Yes, a lot of writers have these, and they do jealously guard them. So I just, one of the reasons I wanted to do this is I just do think it's very easy to fall into the, 5-minute research hole and not really dig a little bit deeper. So yeah, these are great resources, and if you do have a couple hours, you can certainly, spend a long time here just cruising around. This is a us.gov website, and as you can see here, they have tons and tons of topics, history, arts, and culture. I mean, and it's the government, so they cover all kinds of things here. So, and then the scientific one is also really fun too, because that, has different science and different databases and things along those lines. So using references, quotes, and statistics is just a great way to get your own content, and also, to sort of use it as a springboard and to go from there, And if you're writing, especially like an argument or an argumentative or how-to type of thing, if you're saying like, okay, well, you want to exercise because it makes you feel good, and, you want to exercise at this time of day. Well, if you have some relevant research or statistics to back it up, that's going to make you look a lot more credible. And one of the things I do want to mention, even though we're not going to get too much into detail, is, a lot of these types of sites and research don't mind you using a small amount and quoting them, but you always do want to cite your sources. You want to put where you're getting the information. And, you would obviously have that referenced within your book or whatever, and then also at the end you would have your list of resources, your works cited guide, and put that in there. And that way, again, it's making you look more credible. It's making you're showing your audience, hey, I didn't just make up these numbers. You can actually go find them here yourself. And chances are most of your readers aren't going to do that because you've done the hard work for them. But it's just part of the writing process, is making sure that you cite your sources. So that's one big area where you can get some great content. And another area, of course, is online, and just going a little bit deeper into what the types of different contents that people are putting out. And I think one of the better ways to do that is to use tools and search engines that are designed more for content and for helping you find content. So, for example, you can use blog search engines like Blog Plus and Blog Top sites, and you can also use article directories and document sharing sites. And not only are these great just for content, but they're also really good for getting angles and ideas for titles, and also for popularity, because on a lot of these types of things, particularly like article directories or sites like DocStock, you can go on and you can see, like, okay, well, why does this presentation have 20,000 views, whereas this one only has 500 views, even though they're about the same topic? Why is that? So that can help you see how people are presenting information, and again, see if there is more of an engaging angle or something that's resonating more with people that you can consider incorporating into your own content. And a great way to find online content is to use documents, what I call document search engines, like Where is Doc and Brupt, because what these do is they just filter out a lot of the promotional crap that's on the internet, and you can get a lot more of the meat of actual content. So, for example, this here is Brupt, and I just ran a little search about natural sleep aids. And so what we have here is we have all these PDF and Word docs and things like that where we have information about natural sleep aids. And a lot of these look like they're from relevant websites, and they're going to be more content-based than what somebody throwing up a website and saying, hey, buy something through my affiliate link. So with this type of search engine, these search engines, you can get just a lot more content-based a lot faster than having to really troll and go through tons of different websites to try to find what you're looking for. So,
yeah, I mean, I just wanted to chime in for a second. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just thought that that was such a great thing that you said before about looking at the number of views that a particular, article has gotten, or document share article has gotten, because it's like, especially if you're a beginner, you don't have to go in and try to kind of figure things out or reinvent the wheel. It's kind of like telling you the answer. You just have to know where to find it. And that's exactly what you're showing today. So I just wanted to kind of just take a step back and realize the value of that, that information that you just gave.
thanks, Debbie. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like when you're creating content and publishing, you have your own unique voice, and hopefully you'll be injecting that into the content. But a lot of the building blocks and the tools that you're using, that's already been done for you. You don't need to go and run, research tests, or you don't need to go and try to figure out, what would be the best natural sleep aids. Part of what your job would be, if you're, if you're putting together a book about that, would be to read through the research that's already been done and make the recommendations and put your own input and opinion in that after you've done that. So it just makes creating content, I think, a lot easier, and also a lot less intimidating to know that you don't have to start from scratch. So if you're getting the blank page syndrome, on my blog, actually, the last blog post I have on there is about writer's block, and sometimes you know, you can get writer's block when you're feeling really overwhelmed. And it's like, well, you know, just grab one of these content sources and start looking through some of those presentations and, you know, for the subject that you're going to be writing about or publishing in, and just see what catches your eye. So at the beginning of the presentation, we talked a little bit about niche research. And another great way that you can not only get niche research but also get great content are through forum, answer, and group sites. You know, things like Big Boards and Board Reader, which I'll show you momentarily. These are compilations of forums. And so what you can do is you can run a search and find a related forum. And Yahoo Answers and Askville, and there's like a lot of other ones as well, are, you know, places where people are asking questions and getting their questions answered. And then we also have group sites, Google Groups, Yahoo Groups, Facebook Groups. You know, and what's really great about these types of sites is these are where your audience are hanging out, and these people are asking questions. And so it's really a great place to find out what the burning questions are that your audience has. And let me just, I was trolling around here on Big Boards earlier, and this is, you know, again, this is kind of a rabbit hole thing where you can go in there. And they were saying that one of the more popular areas for bulletin boards was pregnancy forums. And, you know, again, these are great, can be great topics for books. And here are some of the, if you go to Big Boards, you can just type in pregnancy, and then you'll see here's all the different forums. So then you can go and check them out. Now, some of these are in different languages, which is cool, but they have a lot of ones in English as well. And one of the things I think is really cool about forums is not only is it great for niche research and content, but it's a built-in audience. So after you've, you know, maybe have written the first draft of your book, you can actually ask people in the forum, you know, if you've registered and maybe have a little bit of a presence there, to take a look at it, give you some feedback. You can advertise. You can, you know, put your book in your signature link. So forums are great because, you know, you're getting the passionate audience, you're getting the targeted audience, and not only are they good for that initial content, but they're also great to, you know, turn around and get feedback from that same audience you're trying, you know, you're presenting content to, and then, you know, you also have a built-in place where you can market to those people as well. So they're really, you know, a great place to sort of mine that both before and afterwards, as far as, you know, when you're putting your content together. You know, and then we come to social media. I mean, and this is, you know, social media is huge. It's kind of a buzzword now, but, you know, because it encompasses so much stuff. But similar to, you know, some of the forums and boards, this allows you to see what people are talking about in real time, almost. And I think the problem often with social media is it can be just very difficult to go through. I mean, I don't know about you, but like when I go to Facebook, you know, I have like the whole wall, and then you got the feed on the right, and then on the left you got all the pages of the groups you subscribe to, and it can just be very hard to go through that if you're actually looking to find, you know, what people are talking about, content, trends, and buzz. So some of these tools that are available now, you can actually use them and sort of cut through all the chatter and really see what's going on with people. They have it, I mean, Google Trends isn't, I mean, that's more like that's a very good tool, and I have it on social media, but that's more a little bit about what people are searching and looking for on Google. But it's a great tool because you can see, again, what people are really looking for in real time almost. Twitter has a number of research tools available, and again, this is kind of fun. I was checking out this one here recently, and it says now trending. So it tells you what's trending today. Harry, this is related to a new Harry Potter movie. The former prime minister wants to run for president again. Chelsea football in UK. And then if you want to actually get a little bit more context, you can see the top Twitter trends of the past 30 days. You know, so things like Justin Bieber. So we know he's a hot topic. Things I like about myself, top lies. So, you know, you can go into these, what people are, click on these and to just get a little bit more of the stream and things like that. So They give you related news, related tweets. Twitter users tweet their favorite 10 voices. So this is probably something that was going around, like, okay, what's your 10 favorite voices, and then people would share it and everything. So, if you're looking for some viral content ideas, using some of these social media search and aggregators is a great way to think of incorporating some types of content that can go viral. And it's not just for Twitter. There's also some other type of sites you can use as well for Facebook, openbook.org, currently.com, that also give you some other types of statistics and usage and reports that you can sift through. And then there's also some general sites that are not just content aggregators, but they're also showing you, what the top blogs are being reporting on right now and what they're writing on. Alltop is one that's very popular, and it's a lot of fun. And if you go to Alltop, it'll tell you what's hot, and then it'll have things like Unmashable, Tech Crunch, Fast Company. These are different tech and other types of blogs, and you can see, the types of things that are popular right now. 3 no-nonsense strategies for profitable part-time blogging. And this is also a really great place to look at titles, to see what are the type of titles that people are clicking on, and why are people interested in those titles, and what makes the wording of those titles be memorable and make you want to go and read the story. So again, Alltop is a great aggregator and a great place to sort of find trends, find content, and find compelling titles as well. And video sites. Now, video sites, there's so much content that's created that's video-based. And, it's not quite as easy to find and use content that's maybe video if you're using it for a book or something. But what's really great about video sites is that oftentimes it's content that people aren't maybe accessing quite as much, or using as a basis to help them create their own content. So it's definitely one you don't want to ignore. I know that on YouTube, for example, there's a lot of videos where they'll actually have the transcription below, or the transcription option, so you can actually see what they're saying in the video. And a couple of video sites that are pretty cool are this one here, this ovguide.com. They have a lot of different, kind of like a video search engine. And this one, the Science and Research Education one, is a great search engine where it shows you different places and hubs where you can access videos that are related to science and research education. And then this one, video sites and categories, this is one that just sort of breaks down popular video sites. And it's great because it kind of shows you like different audience share and things like that. And let me go ahead here, and I just want to show you the search engine that they have here for the Science and Research Education video sites. So they have the popular ones like Discovery Channel, and as you scroll down, they have Instructable Science, where they show you actually how to do something. So they have tutorial sites. So this is another great depository of awesome content that you can, take a look at and research and use as a basis for your own content as well. And it can be easy sometimes to forget about video if you're putting together something written, but a lot of these will, have, as I mentioned, transcription, or if there's something you think that's really great, you can go on Fiverr and get the video transcribed. You can get as low as $5 for 10 minutes of video transcribed. And with the video, it would be just very similar. You would just cite that as a source, in your works cited, or in the body of what you're writing, just put it in there, and then you can take it and use that as a basis for some of your written content.
Yeah, actually, video is one of my favorite resources for topics that I'm writing about that I might not be, 100% that knowledgeable about, so to speak. So for me, I'm more of like an audible or audio learner. So, for certain topics, like for instance, like I have no idea how to grow a tomato. I mean, I will never probably try to grow a tomato, but listening to a video or watching a video is much more interesting to me than reading about that topic. So it's good for, things that you might not be 100% familiar with, or maybe it's boring to you. Maybe it's a boring topic that you have to write about because maybe you provide content for someone else and you have to write about it. But so videos are a great way to learn about something that you're not 100% knowledgeable about.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's absolutely right. It's a great way to, get that content. And also see like funny cat stuff too. But but no, videos are great
Yeah.
because they put you into that content really quickly, and then you can go on and continue looking at written content or watching more videos. And
Tracy's asking if I've never grown a tomato plant. No, I've never tried, and again, I probably never will. I just don't have the patience for that. But I'll eat them. No problem
Yeah,
there.
Carol, I know you're asking about the sites. I mentioned at the beginning, you might have mentioned, we'll have a PDF of these on the replay page, which will be available in a day or so. So you'll be able, we're going to be sending out another email, and then you'll be able to go and download that and access it. So it will be available. So now we've gotten like tons of awesome research. So we got to just think a little bit about, how we want to actually organize that research. And, everybody has their way, but I really think if you have some sort of systemized tool of organizing your research, it's very helpful, especially if you're going to be handing it off to an outsourcer. You can, instead of them floundering around and spending all this time researching, you can take a couple of hours, get together some really good research content, and then you can hand them your outline. And this is something that I do. I do this for not every single thing I write or create, but I do this because I just know that, if I pick somebody who writes well, then the quality will be good because I've given them the good basis. And then also because it's all written down and organized, you have you can use that for your works cited as well. So there's some different tools you can use for outlining. There's some free tools you can use. I know that like a lot of iPads and some of the other things, you can get free programs and things like that. So it's just good, though, if you have a method for organizing your research that's not relying on scraps of paper or on bookmarking on a search engine, especially if you're researching for a specific project. And one of the ways that I really like to do this is I like to use freemind.org, which is a mind mapping tool. It's free. It's pretty basic. There's some fancier mind mapping tools out there, but I like this one. And then when you use that mind map, you can have different sections, and then you can just copy and paste like the URL or like a quote and then the URL. And then what's really cool about FreeMind is it actually has an option where you can make it an outline. You create a HTML document from your mind map, and it makes it an outline form. So that's very cool because now you have an outline and you can use that, or you can hand it off to your outsourcer. And so some of the ways that you can write with your research, you can have it where if you have certain ways of doing things like how to, you can have templates and you can just drop them in there, and then of course include some images and things like that. I've been talking a lot about outsourcing, about how if you do use an outsourcer, by providing them with research you've already done or some directions to get research, you're going to get better quality content. And one of the other things I also want to mention is taking your research and actually presenting it visually and using infographics. And this is something that I'm kind of wading in even more and exploring a little bit more. There's a couple of sites that you can go and get free infographics done. I think Pictochart.com actually has a small fee, and I believe Infogram is free. But there's just something very compelling about presenting research visually. And if you're looking again to create viral content, this is a great way to do that because, as you probably know, infographics are often shared, on social media sites. So and also if you're using a lot of research for a book, let's say you have all this research, you've written your book, you've published it on Kindle. Well, what you should do is take some of that research and maybe make 5 to 10 infographics and share that on your blog and then share it on social media and drive traffic to your book. So your research doesn't just have to be used once. If you're doing something with infographics and presenting the information visually, then you can reuse and repurpose the work that you've done and really get people interested in it.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to change much of the original content that you've produced. It's called having and doing the work once and then repurposing it so that it works over and over and over for you. Like you could definitely do this yourself, obviously, or you could hand it off to an outsourcer, maybe a designer that will create these infographics for you. If you're graphically challenged, then we probably wouldn't recommend you to try to figure out how to make, a nice and beautiful infographic. Your time is probably better spent making more content rather than doing the design part of things. So keep that in mind as well. You don't have to reinvent your content, but you do have to move your content from one medium to another, which is from text to pictures, info pictures. So
great points. That's really true. And actually, kind of for my final show and tell here, this is Infogram. And once you sign in, you can create charts and infographics and have the library. And they let you use templates. So, you can scroll through here and look and make, add in your own style of what you want to add in and things like that. So those are kind of fun. And something that I'm looking forward to playing around with a little bit more too. So
yeah, that does look
they have different,
like a lot of fun.
Yeah, Infogram. So we can all go on there and do infographics. Maybe I should do an infographic of this presentation.
Yeah.
Sure, that would be kind of cool.
Totally. So I mean, that, if you use that, obviously you don't have to design an infographic from scratch. You can use something that will help you kind of go step by step. So that's a great solution. I'm glad you found that.
Yeah. And Pick the Chart is also pretty cool, but I believe they have a monthly fee, so that's kind of more for power users. But if you just want to get started, I think Infogram is pretty cool. So we hope you've enjoyed this. I know, as I've said, there is a lot of different sites, and we would, love to hear from you about, some of the sites that you've maybe checked out from the presentation. You're always welcome to drop us a line on, Facebook or email and let us know. And also, we've really just sort of scratched the surface of the ways that you can actually create compelling content quickly without having to write everything from scratch. And so tonight we also want to share with you another method, another tool that you can use.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, tonight we're going to be taking your questions, but we do have a sponsor for tonight's presentation. And it's actually something that we worked hard on creating a few months ago, and it was a very popular topic at the time, and I think it's still a popular topic, and one that people are often confused about. Sometimes they hear maybe some negative, connotations. But the topic of this sponsor is actually PLR, and it's actually a great place to find information. And as I said, PLR sometimes has and is associated with some negative connotation. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of it. You could type in the chat box right now to kind of explain to us what you've heard about PLR. I'll just name a few things that I've heard or I've even seen when it comes to PLR, that it's not quality content. It's, it's broadly distributed across the internet, so one person among thousands can have access to one piece of PLR content. And you've also probably heard that, and if you haven't and you're a Kindle publisher, it would be a little bit scary if you haven't learned that PLR, you cannot use PLR on Kindle, because it's definitely not recommended to do that, because many marketers a while back, I would say about not even that long ago, maybe 8 to 10 months ago, were really abusing PLR. They found out that, hey, you could publish a PLR book, you can stick it on Amazon on the Kindle, and all you need to do is change the chapters, change the chapter headings, change the title, change the author, and boom, you got yourself a new book. Well, Amazon caught on to this. It took them a little while, though, but more importantly, their readers caught on to it. So they would buy a book about, juicing diet, and then they would, because they're interested in the topic, which is great for us publishers, because even though there are hundreds of juicing diet books out there, we can write another one and people will buy it because they're just interested in that topic. So they usually don't just buy one book on the topic that they're interested in, which you probably already know. So they would buy another book and find that it was like the same book that they just read, but with different chapter headings. So Amazon didn't like to provide their readers with such a negative experience, and then they would get high refund rates. So they quickly solved that issue. So we're aware, of course, that you're not allowed to use PLR, but however, in PLR to Published, which is the product that we're sponsoring here tonight, we show you how to turn old dusty PLR into great quality and workable content. So you're just using it as a basis to start from. Remember, we're not trying to pick a topic and reinvent the wheel when it comes to what people are interested in, or what chapter headings should we use for our book, because they're already there, they're already invented, and you can use everything that we talked about today in conjunction with the PLR resources that we give you and have yourself a really kick-butt content, quality content book. So this, using PLR the right way could be very lucrative for you. It will broaden your mind, it will expand your internet marketing business, because, and this is what this exactly has done for Amy and I, because basically, it didn't just, we went from creating books to creating, better blogs, better everything, and then better products. And just because we know how to do this research better, and one of the resources that we use is PLR. Not only PLR, but it's a great place to kind of a great starting place, a great middle place, a great end place. But the point is that you're not, and I'll say this again, you're not using the PLR as is. We're teaching you, how to really use PLR to your advantage, how to use it the right way, how to create outlines to make this process easier for you, And as I said, you can use everything that we talked about today in addition to the PLR resources that you're going to be finding. And we show you exactly where you can find them, where you can find the better ones, how to sift through the bad ones versus the great ones. We show you all of that. And that link, I guess we will provide that for you in the chat
Right.
box.
So what we're talking about in our training with PLR to publish is really being able to do, you know, the complete research where you're using PLR, you're using other research tools and methods like what we talked about tonight, and you're actually creating compelling books by starting from having a strong outline and from being able to determine the type of content that people are interested in and people want to read about. And we cover all of that actually in this training, where you can, you know, use PLR as another research place and another content source and really refine and sift through it and mine it to create a better quality product. Because the point with incorporating some of the PLR and using PLR as a basis is not just to say, okay, well, I don't know anything about this, so I'm just going to go to PLR. It's to actually make your content better and make it more readable, make it more compelling, so you're not floundering around saying, oh, well, you know, I know juicing is popular, but I don't know anything about it, so I'm just going to talk about like why juicing is good and give a couple recipes. But if you have PLR that you can actually use, you can see what type of topics people are interested in. You can see some of the content and research already done for you, and you can combine that with a lot of your other research. And, you know, that's a lot of where a good nonfiction book in particular is going to be starting from, is going to be making sure that you are putting together an outline and covering the topics that people are really want to know, and you're helping people solve problems, and you're giving people quality information and in a unique and compelling way. And that's actually what we're showing in this training, is how you can actually use PLR and do all those things in conjunction with many of the other research tools and methods.
Yeah, and I see that Tracy said that using PLR for Kindle books, exactly, it's because webinars taught us to do that. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, that's actually how I got started with Kindle. And I'm kind of happy, you know, I was introduced to that because that actually helped me start my Kindle business, but not happy when you get the email from Amazon saying, hey, we're going to shut down your account because you're using PLR. So it's just definitely not the right way to produce a book. I will say that, you know, there are tons of places now other than the Kindle that you can publish your books to, and while some of those sites might not be wise to the PLR thing yet, I would say, and we would recommend, not to use it anywhere in anything that you do. So we just want to make that very clear, you know, to say that we're not about using PLR as is. But the product here, PLR to publish, we have a lot of like great reviews, and it's a membership site. It's only a one-time low fee of $17. So so it's a real bargain, to say the least, especially on a live webinar where products. If anyone hears scratching, that's my dog in the background. So we're pet friendly. So I'm going to go quiet her down. I'll be right back.
Right, so PLR to Publish is really a complete membership site. It has a lot of content. It has a combination of video training, it has PDFs, it has mind maps, it has resource guides. So it has pretty much something for everybody. If you prefer video, there's the video training. If you prefer reading through, we have a lot of the content in the form of PDF as well as resource guides. And This is a course that I just really like, and it's one of these courses that I think can be a foundational course if you're an author or a publisher, because it goes into the basics of looking at content, evaluating content, organizing your content, outlining your content, and creating new content. And that's what it covers. And a lot of this came from, Debbie's and our experience as publishers, and then for some of it as well comes from my own experience from doing research and from teaching research and from teaching writing as well. So there's a lot of knowledge in this course. There's a lot of really great content, and for the what we're offering it for, definitely is a bargain, especially if you want to learn how to research more effectively, to put together better content, and you want to feel more in control of the writing and the publishing process.
Yeah, and some of the folks that we have on here tonight, we definitely had some additional information that is not covered in PLR to Published, but Carol chimed in. Thank you, Carol, so much for what you've written. Carol says that I can attest to the effectiveness of this. I bought it a while ago and learned a lot of things about how to use PLR to get ideas for structuring and fleshing out books. I think that when combined with the research outlined in this webinar would be better than fantastic. It is a really great course. Thank you so much, Carol, for giving that testimonial. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So does anyone have any questions from tonight's webinar?
Yeah, we want to make sure to get your questions answered. I know we went over a lot of information.
Yeah.
So.
Jamie says that she just bought it. She's a fiction writer, need help with nonfiction. This will be great. And you know what is so cool, Jamie, that you just reminded me of this? You can actually use PLR with fiction as well. Again, not PLR as is, but with fiction, meaning like sometimes in fiction you need to incorporate facts in your book. Like, let's just use the example that I said earlier about juicing. Let's say you have a character that is on a juicing diet. Well, how about going on for a paragraph explaining how this person is juicing, being descriptive. That's one of the ways to make a fiction book good, is being descriptive. So if you can talk about juicing, you don't have to learn how, or know, I should say. You don't have to know the ins and outs of being a juicer, right? You just go and get some PLR and say, what's the deal on this juicing thing, and then add it to your book. So this is what makes PLR so cool, that you just don't have to, reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, it's just another great tool to add to your wheelhouse of, publishing content and publishing quality content. It's just, it gives you an edge over some of the people out there who are just, churning out books without doing a lot of in-depth research and just sort of putting stuff together. And as we know, the marketplace is really getting competitive, particularly on Kindle. So the types of things that you can do to stand apart from everybody else, those are going to be those skills and strategies that you're always going to be able to fall back on.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to check out the link, I put it in the chat box. Can anyone tell me if the link is working? I forgot to check it. Hopefully it is, but yeah, okay. Melissa says yes, it's working. Tracy says yes. Okay, good. Awesome.
Yeah, and the way you get this delivered is when you purchase it, you'll log into JVZoo, that's the payment processor, and then they will, you'll get a download, and that'll have your login information. So you get the download, and then that has the login information to access the site. And then I would just suggest when you access the site the first time, it's a membership site, if you have like an autosave program on your browser, to save the username and password, because there is a lot of content in there, and you don't want to have to be searching for your username and password all the time.
And good point. The content that we deliver, as we deliver in all of our products, we realize that people learn differently. Some people like to get through a PDF and do like a quick overview of each section. Some people are better with video, so we have video, we have PDF, which of course you can also watch, I believe, streaming on YouTube as well. So so you'll have that available. So we try to cater to people that learn all types of different ways.
Right. Again, as a former teacher, it just always reminded me that, you know, it's a great idea to present information 2 or 3 or 4 different ways so you can reach all your students. So some great questions and feedback here. You know, again, just type in the box if you have any questions about PLR to Publish or about the presentation tonight.
Brenda asks, how do we get on your list? First, another question, I think, or was it, I think Derek? Yeah, Derek asked if there was going to be a replay, and we always do our best to provide a replay around noon or so the next day, hopefully maybe sooner than that. And Brenda asked, how do we get on our list? The best place to do that, this is I'll give you a little sneaky tip. Don't tell too many people. But we give away all these different free stuff. So if you go to my blog, which is bookpublishingriches.com, or Amy's blog, which is amyharrop.com, or our combined blog, which is amydebcreations.com, you'll find a lot of different goodies that we're giving away. So you might get multiple emails from us sometimes, but you can just unsubscribe and make sure you're just subscribed to one if you want.
Yeah, we have a lot of free things we give, to our list subscribers, and things that aren't really available to everybody else. Can you please type them in the chat box?
I'll do that. Yeah.
This? Okay.
I can do it.
Or
yeah.
Okay. So I mean, just talking about some of these great places you can get research, I just find it really exciting. I mean, I think, like I said, I would love to see and hear back from everybody, maybe some of the content that you've created using some of these research tips and tools. I mean, I think you can spend hours at some of these places. Obviously, that's not what we want to be doing, but, it just really reminds me that there's so much available to help you create good quality content, and it is easy to stand out from the crowd and the pack if you're willing to put the time and effort into making sure that what you're using and what you're researching is not just the same stuff that's easily accessible for anybody doing a keyword search. So by just going that extra mile, you can rise above 90% of the people who might be publishing something in that niche.
It's funny you use the term easily accessible, because that's exactly what Amazon uses when they find that your book has the same kind of content that's quote-unquote easily accessible to content that's online. So as Amy was saying at the beginning of the webinar, like just doing a Google search and finding, using the first search result that comes up, that's very bad practice. I mean, that might be a good starting point, of course, because, that's a popular way of doing research. But when you want to dig a little deeper and you want to write another juicing book that is not the same as the other 100 juicing books that are out there, these are the methods that you are going to want to use to craft your book.
Well said. Well said.
Oh.
So how long is the offer open?
Yeah.
Well, good question. This is actually an offer that's It's been at a low price, but I will say that we do have on our agenda the first quarter of the year is we do want to close down this offer and relaunch it more expensively. So I don't have a, it's not going to be closed tomorrow, but it's not going to be open indefinitely either, because we realize that we really, put a lot of content in PLR to publish, and it's a topic, it's a product that people are interested in and they're getting regularly. Excuse me, and we want to make it even more, widely available. So we will be closing down the special offer that it's on right now, the 17 offer, some point, and we're going to be relaunching it as a bigger product. So, and some of you, I think, on the call can attest to the fact that we've done this with some of our other things where you've gotten it at a great price and then it's not available later. I mean, we don't do that with every single thing, but we do have some things where we do that. And this is one of those that's going to be more expensive later. So if it's something that you're interested in, we do offer a 30-day guarantee. I would, recommend you go ahead and get it and check it out and start using the techniques and, start getting your publishing up there, because this is really going to be, I think, even more so than last year, the year of, publishing, of ebook publishing, of digital publishing. It's really exciting. It's going to be bigger and better now. And, the more you can get your content out there, the better.
Yeah, and as we kind of alluded to earlier, getting really good at creating content is literally your pathway to success in internet marketing. You could think of yourself as a book publisher, but you need to, kind of have your hands in a bunch of things. If you think about it, you can't just put up a Kindle book and, relax and cross your fingers and wait for the sales to roll in. You have to do a lot these days to market your book. So what do you need? You need to learn blogging skills. You need to learn, we just put out a product recently about book trailers. You need some video skills. You need social media skills. These are all things that encompass social, internet marketing. So you're an internet marketer if you're a book publisher, or you should be if you want to consider being successful with your books and getting a bunch of sales with the books that you have and the books that you're going to be making in the future. All right, so we're definitely here to answer any questions that you might have had from the presentation itself or the offer that we're presenting tonight. Again, that offer is just 17 bucks. It's not a big investment, but it's huge when it comes to what it can do for your online success. So we'll stay on for a few more minutes. We want to, we're conscious of your time. Amy has to, what are you, no, you're at 5 o'clock, right? So you're past lunch. You're almost at dinner time. I'm at dinner time, but I'm 3 hours later. So I haven't eaten dinner yet, but but you have us live, and as you also know, or some of you might know, when you do buy our products at a lower price, what we do is when we add new material and sell it again for a higher price, we normally put that information in for free as like an update to our buyers. So, you wouldn't have to like buy this product again if you already bought it, one time. So that's what we've been doing for several. I can't promise how much free content you'll get because we might not even know the answer to that at this point. But that's kind of the trend, what we've been doing. Amy and I work pretty hard in developing new stuff, and we want to make our subscribers happy with us. So that's just the way we roll. So. And we enjoy this stuff. We love doing it, and we're happy to do it.
Exactly. And again, if you want to check out the replay, that will be available probably in the next day or so, but you do want to keep an eye out for your email. If you did get invited to this, not through email, as a majority I think is subscriber, or you might have got invited just from Facebook, you want to check out our website so you can subscribe, so you can get updates and things like that, and notifications to webinars and replays and things along those lines. So. Good question here. We have a question from Marcy. Any tips on not taking feedback on your book less personally? That's an interesting question because as Debbie and I were bringing books and products in the marketplace, you certainly can get feedback from people who, are pretty personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the pieces of information about feedback that I've often thought of over the years, as I've been writing for years, and you get in writers groups and writing circles, and it's like if one person says something, a lot of times you can just dismiss it. But if you have a second person, and then if a third person says a similar thing, that's feedback you want to look at critically. So if one person says something, I don't really think that much about it. But if I'm starting to get multiple people saying the same thing, you get into the 3 people are saying something similar, that means that, to me, there's a problem there and I want to take a look at it. As far as taking it personally, I just think, well, a lot of times with individual complaints like that, people read and view and consume stuff through filter. It's their expectations of the way they've lived their life up to this moment. It really doesn't have that much to do with me, So that's what I do, is I just don't take a particular person's feedback that seriously. If it's something about, they didn't like the way I did something or this, that, and the other. But if I'm getting several people saying similar things, then yes, I definitely want to take a look at that and fix it, or make it better, or maybe re-release it, or do it better in the next, the next book or the next product.
Yeah, and I always say, in the beginning, it's a lot harder to take negative information or negative feedback from people. Like I remember, one of my first products or the first few, it kind of like you take it personally because this is work that you've worked hard on, and you wanted it to be good, but you can't please everyone. That's the first thing. And the second thing is just keep in mind that don't let it slow you down. Just charge forward, and literally right now, if I if I get a sense that there is maybe a negative email or maybe not necessarily a review, okay, I can't please that person, so I just move on. And you can decide how you want to react. If it's a negative review on Amazon itself, then you might want to respond. Sometimes even negative reviews can be good for the traffic of your book. It might cause interaction, and unless your book is like poorly formatted, that's kind of hard to get over. So make sure that you have a nice looking book, a nice looking cover, no spelling or grammatical errors. So hopefully you're not getting error or bad feedback about that. But a lot of people will still buy your book if there's, we call them trolls sometimes, right? Some trolls that are just there to comment just because they're bored, so just brush your shoulders off, brush, and move on. So yeah, and just try to grow day by day a little bit of a thicker skin. It might be hard in the beginning, Marcy, but you'll get there. You'll get there. If you're experiencing to noon in Australia, Pam says she's having a slow time processing. The site might be getting slammed now at once, so try refreshing the page, or try again in a couple minutes. I'm sure you won't have a problem.
Somebody mentioned having some issues with JVZoo. This is a product that you actually download in JVZoo after you purchase, so there should be a file downloaded there directly that you get when you log into your customer. You know, we do use JVZoo a lot. There's a lot of things we like about them as a payment processor, but yes, sometimes people can have problems with them.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie, I don't know if you have available, maybe just put our support address in the
for
thing
sure.
in case anybody's having any problems.
If you do have a problem, you can go to, I think it's customer.jvzoo.com, and you can log in there, and you go under the tab called My Purchases, and it should be there if you purchase the product.
Right, and it's a file, zip file, a file download. And when you click on that, you'll get your login information, and then you go to the site and log in. So, but I do know sometimes people have issues with JVZoo. We like JVZoo a lot, but no payment processor is perfect, I guess, is what I'm saying. We haven't found a perfect one yet, so.
Because we didn't build it, of course. That's why.
Of course not.
All right, Pam says it's all good now. Thanks for your patience, Pam.
Great, everybody. Well, we do want to wrap this up here in a few minutes. We do want to be mindful of your time, but you know, please type in the question box if you have any questions. Here, I'm just trying to scroll through and make sure we didn't miss anything here.
Yeah, we hope that we gave you some great information. That's always our intent. And good resources to come with the webinar replay and also the PDF that will accompany that. It will be a PDF that you'll be able to see all the links that we talked about today, because there were several. So yeah, so we hope you enjoyed it. And if I don't see any more questions rolling in, but do check us out and connect with us on social media and our blogs. And actually, we had a question come in. What do you figure is the average number of sales for an average book with an average promotion? Val asks.
That's a funny question because I don't know if there is an average of anything. I think it does depend on your book, your niche, your genre, but you know, if you're not getting, I think at least, you know, like 10 sales a week or so, you know, you want to be looking at why, you know, you're not. And that would be like on one platform. I mean, you know, Kindle has such a huge readership. You might want to take a look at why you're not getting, you know, that number of sales. Is it your pricing, your cover, your description? You know, so it's very difficult. You know, it's very difficult to say what the average is. I mean, if you have something that's more specialized and technically based, you might only get, you know, a handful of sales a week. If you have something that's, you know, lose 10 pounds now by doing nothing except, you know, kissing, then you probably will have a lot more sales.
Yeah.
So our social media.
Yeah, and also too, you know, another thing to think about is that if you have a book and it's not selling that well, you know, not every book is going to be a bestseller, right? And don't have the mentality to, you know, think that you're just going to write one book and it's going to make you rich or allow you to, you know, quit your job or whatever. Like when I started out, I worked a full-time job. I didn't think any of the books that I created were going to be like bestsellers. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe, I don't know if I had, it wasn't a negative attitude. I just didn't want to like think that this was going to be the one. This, you know, acne book was going to lead me to financial freedom. So I just kept on going and kept on going. So if you want to talk about averages, the more books that you have, the more money you'll make. You know, that's the bottom line. So That's the way I look at it. And then every now and again, you're going to hit one, and you're going to be like, "Bam, that's my golden nugget," and I'm going to revolve everything around that.
Yeah, it's great points. And, Jamie actually just chimed in and said series rocks. And I
Yeah.
think that's very true. Writing book series. We're actually just getting ready to release a first book soon in the new book series that we're doing. And that's sort of an extension, but also different from our Energy Booster series. So I agree with you. I definitely think writing series for fiction and nonfiction is a great way to, sell more books. So that's a great tip.
Well, we'll end on Carol's, again, Carol, we love you, Carol, because she's so nice to us tonight, right? She says, thanks so much for a wonderful webinar packed chock full of incredible, useful information about researching. And thank you all for joining us live here tonight. And we enjoyed it. We had fun. This is what we love to do. So we're happy that we got to spend some time with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for coming out, everybody, and we will look forward to talking with you soon, and connecting with you again, whether it's through email, webinar, Facebook. So, yeah, just get in touch with us. We love to hear what everybody's doing. And, go check out PLR to Published if you haven't yet, and keep an eye out in your email box for our replay. And we will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.